My name is Gina Belton, and I'm a doctoral candidate from Pacifica Graduate Institute. I am working on my research in depth psychology, and I am researching the intersections between the biomedical model and the Indigenous knowledge system in end-of-life relationships. I am working on two presentations. They're group presentations, which I've realized now, it's my second year, that I have an attraction to is collaborations, particularly if they're arising from community perspectives. The first one is with Richard Bargdill and Anthony Muron. And that collaboration came forward because Rich and I had done a presentation last year, also with an intersection of the Indigenous cosmology and liberation psychology. And we'd had many conversations around the Indigenous knowledge system and my wanting to educate him to understanding decolonization and how that had its how it informs liberation psychology. That session is on climate change. It's titled "You Can't Eat Money." He called me, or we had some sort of communication, I forget which, where he had taken some students to the climate march. And what he noticed this moment in time where he I think just like looked up at the march and noticed that at the front of this whole group of hundreds of thousands of people who were marching, it was led by Indigenous women. And my response to him was, well, of course it is, Rich. That is their role of Indigenous women. That's part of our cosmology, is to tend to the earth as part of our relation. And our role in that as women standing beside men is the recognition of that, tending to the wild. That's my part of this presentation. It's important to me that when I present from this voice of Indigenous perspectives, to help people recognize that it's not one red aggregate, that there's a diversity amongst Indigenous populations and even amongst ourselves. Even my own personal Indigenous lineage is quite rich and diverse with the colonizer and the colonized. And so that inspires me to always be compassionately curious with myself. Now what's here? Gina, now what's here? Now what's here? Now what's here? So it's bottomless. And that's why I do the work I do with Death and Dying, because I can keep showing up and say, now what's here? Now what's here? So I hope I can leave you with a question. Now what's here? To me, it's important because I'm reclaiming. That's actually the journey that I'm on. It's this dissertation work that I'm doing is not an academic exercise. It's actually a reclamation of what I call my Indigenous mind. I grew up in California, and as Gloria Ansel-Dua pointed out, I didn't cross the border crossed me. My family has always been part of the West Coast, and so it speaks to a particular moment in time with my grandfather where he spoke some Nahuatl, which is an Aztec language, and also Spanish, and I was never taught any of that. And I remember with my 6-year-old self looking up to him and asking him, could you please teach me those pretty words? And he said, I can't, it's too dangerous for you. And I get emotional about that because I can still have an embodied sense of what it felt like in that moment. My 6-year-old self, I felt a shadow coming over me, literally going, wow, how can I be dangerous to the world? Well, now in this moment of the climate march, I can see how dangerous I can be to the world as a woman and of an Indigenous lineage. Very dangerous.